The Rockefeller family is still wealthy 3 generations later. The Vanderbilt legacy has all but died out by the 3rd generation. Both started as industrialists, both made massive fortunes. So what's the difference? Rockefeller made one move that Vanderbilt didn't, and that single move is the difference between a dynasty and a footnote. There are 2 paths for men moving forward, the industrialist and the pioneer. Now most of you watching are industrialists. You're making money online, whether that's e-com, affiliate, B2B, info, whatever. I'm here to tell you that's not enough to build a dynasty. So let's break down the industrialist path. The industrialist optimizes existing systems. He finds what works, scales it ruthlessly, and extracts maximum value. He thinks in quarters and years. He moves fast because that's how you win in modern markets. Now, like I said, you could be in e-com, B2B, affiliate, selling info, doesn't matter. The industrialist capitalizes on speed. What worked last year doesn't work this year because the meta is constantly changing. So the industrialist adapts to win. Now this is me right now. Between email marketing and managing social media for content creators, I optimize systems and scale what works, and I'm good at it. But here's the trap. The industrialist builds on other people's platforms, other people's infrastructure, other people's rules. So now you got to consider algorithm changes, platform bans, market saturation, competitors that will literally copy your exact playbook. So while your income goes up, so does your anxiety. Then you got to consider lifestyle inflation. You get the high-rise apartment, the faster car, the Michelin star dinners, the first-class flights, but zero sovereignty. No land, no equity, no system for your children to inherit. Just a really impressive lifestyle that requires you to stay on the hamster wheel forever. This is what I would call building a high-income prison. This is where the pioneer comes in. The pioneer builds new foundations. He acquires resources that no one else controls. He builds foundations that compound over generations. The pioneer embraces ancestral tradition. He thinks in decades, in generations. The work is fundamentally different. It's slower, more physical, and it requires a patience that makes the industrialist uncomfortable. The pioneer buys land, builds homesteads, hunts, grows food, creates sovereignty that doesn't depend on platforms or algorithms or market trends. This is where I'm headed. I'm transitioning from industrialist to pioneer. Here's the key though. Neither path is better. In fact, both are necessary. You could even say they're like a yin and yang, except these 2 paths naturally find themselves at odds. On one hand, you got one path that says optimize and scale faster. Then you have the other path that says slow down and build something permanent. Or you could rephrase this into retake positions of power inside the system. And on the other hand, you have return to the land and build something outside the system. Both paths are valid. Both build wealth in their own meaning. The wealthiest families in history understood both frameworks. Let's go back to the Rockefellers. He started as an industrialist in oil. That's where his fortune was made. But then he became a pioneer in land and institutions. He built foundations that would last. So 3 generations later, their legacy still lives on. Now let's look at the Vanderbilts. Pure industrialist in railroads. Never made the transition to pioneer. So 3 generations later, their legacy is all but gone. The Rockefellers used one framework to fund the other. Most entrepreneurs miss this. They stay pure industrialist forever. For most of us in the first generation, the play is hybrid. Keep the industrialist tactics to generate cash fast. Online business, digital income, speed, and optimization. But deploy the profits towards pioneer objectives. Land, sovereignty, generational systems. For people making money online going into 2026, this means keep running your online business, keep scaling, but use the profits to buy land, build homesteads, and establish sovereignty. That's what I'm doing. I'm not abandoning my industrialist tactics. I'm using them to fund the pioneer transition. It gets really interesting when you start thinking generations ahead, and I'll be going more in depth on this in future videos, but for now, I just want to touch on the first generation. Hybrid, build both tracks simultaneously, maintain income while building the land base, create the family operating system. For most of us, this will be our role. to prove the model works and establish the principles our sons will operate from. If you're an industrialist right now, making good money, you're doing the right thing. But ask yourself, what are you building towards? More lifestyle or actual sovereignty? If you're ready to use your industrialist profits to fund the pioneer transition, or if you're ready to build something your kids will inherit, more than just a luxury lifestyle, I put together a free sovereignty starter pack. It has everything you need to start deploying your profits towards sovereignty. Link in the description. I'm going to be documenting this entire transition from industrialist to pioneer, the land purchase, the homestead build, teaching my son what my grandfather taught me. So subscribe if you want to see how this hybrid approach actually works. Because in 20 years, I don't want to be locked in this high income prison. I want to be on land I own, knowing I built something permanent. That's the pioneer path, and I'm using my industrialist skills to get there.